Are you struggling on the carnivore diet? Today, I'm going to give you some steps that you can take to get past those struggles and thrive on the carnivore diet. It doesn't make sense to continue to do something that isn't working. That doesn't mean that you should stop doing carnivore, though, or add carbs back into your diet. You just might need to make some tweaks. So let's take a look at this. There are But really, I'm going to say there's three big things that you can look at here if you're struggling on the carnivore diet. And the first thing, the most important thing, is to simplify your diet. For just 30 days, I want you to only consume meat, salt, and water. If possible, beef is probably going to be the best option because of the fat content, but you can go with pork, chicken as well. You just want to get the fattier cuts. So get fattier types of pork, get a chicken with the skin on it, that kind of stuff, so that you get a little bit more fat with it. Okay. But you're just doing that salt and water, no other types of seasonings. Don't do sparkling drinks, coffee, any of that stuff, just plain water. So you're going to do that meat, salt, and water. And you're going to do that for 30 days and see if that kind of gets you past some of the struggles that you were at. Maybe you weren't losing weight like you thought you should, so forth. Okay. That is the first big tip. The second one is going to be to get 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night. And it's important that it's consistent every night. Too often people will only be getting 5, 6 hours of sleep at the most. And this is going to affect their ability to lose weight and function properly. You know, you'll see issues with stress coming in and so forth just because you did not get enough sleep. So that's a huge thing, is to make sure you're getting a good 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night. So again, just do this the 30 days while you're also doing the meat, salt, and water. Concentrate on 7 to 9 hours of sleep every day for that 30 days. All right. And then the third and final thing that I'm going to give you here is, it's kind of a question here, but are you eating enough? You want to make sure that you're eating enough food. If you are not getting enough food that you're eating, your body is going to kind of adjust to that. And I know that there is some thought process out there of, well, your body then is going to be, taking your stores of fat. Well, that works well with fasting, but when you're eating food and you're just not eating enough food, you're more, I don't know that I really like saying the word metabolism, but it's kind of like your metabolism. You're not really burning the food as well as you should be, or not the food, but I mean the fat as well as you should be, and so forth. So your body can tend to slow down a little bit. You lose some of the energy and so forth. So you want to make sure that you're eating enough food. Now, again, you want it to be basically your meat, salt, and water. So you're basically just eating the meat, the fatty meat. You want to make sure that there's a good amount of fat in there. But, those are the things that you're going to be eating for that 30 days. So at the same time, you want to make sure that you're eating enough. If you're the type of person that you can only eat so much in one setting, then OMAD's probably not going to work as well for you. And you probably need to do 2MAD. Okay. So that's 2 meals a day. And again, the reason why you're doing that is because you want to make sure that you are getting enough food. Now, if you can eat enough at one time, you can do OMAD, and that will probably work out just fine for you. That's ideal, actually, because then you have a full 24-hour of intermittent fast in between, and that's going to help with fat burning, fat loss, that kind of stuff as well. But it's important to make sure that you're getting enough food. There's too many people that end up under eating. They don't eat until they're truly full. They just eat a certain amount. They say this should be enough food for me, and they eat that amount. And then they figure, I'm trying to lose weight, so I'm not going to eat anymore. And they just don't end up eating enough food. And that just doesn't do well for your body. Your body wants more nutrients and so forth. And that's why a lot of diets don't work well for people. And really why a lot of people will say the carnivore diet isn't really a diet. It's more of like a lifestyle way of eating, that kind of stuff, right? Because don't think of it as that you're restricting the amount of food that you're eating. So that's a huge, very important thing. And that's the third thing that I really would put out there to do. So let's recap them really quick here. If you're struggling on the carnivore diet, you want to take 30 days where you're going to eat basically meat, salt, and water. Okay, that's all you're going to be taking in. And I'm talking about regular water. We're not talking about sparkling water or anything like that. Okay, no coffee, stuff like that. Uh, After that 30 days, then you can look at adding some things back in, things like eggs, dairy, and stuff like that, and see if any of those things tend to trigger you. I'm not talking about adding in vegetables or fruit or anything like that. We're talking about things like eggs, dairy, whatever, that kind of stuff, right? At that same time of that 30 days, you want to concentrate on getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night. And you want to make sure that you're eating enough, eating until you are full. If you can't eat enough in a single, meal, then you can go to two meals a day. But if you can get enough in that one meal, that's going to work well too, because you're going to get a full 24 hours of intermittent fasting in between. So those are the three big pieces that I have here for struggling on the carnivore diet. Now, I'm going to add in an extra bonus tip here, if you will. Okay. So this bonus tip here has to do with, I kind of alluded to this already, but going, instead of just talking about meat, we're going to talk about just beef. And I know exactly what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, that's, the lion diet, right? Not carnivore diet. But we're talking about just doing this for 30 days, right? So we're going to do this for 30 days. That's that right? For 30 days, we're going to do just beef. We want fatty beef. So we don't want necessarily leaner cuts of steak or anything like that. We want the fattier ones. So we want things like ribeye, chuck. You could do New York strip if you're getting it like off the slab, and you're getting, make sure that you're getting more fat on there, what you would normally see from a cut. So you kind of get some of that fat cap part. Or you're able to maybe buy beef fat from the butcher and use that in there along with your meal, something to that effect. But that's what you're going to do. You're going to do beef, you're going to do salt, and you're going to do water. So the only seasoning is salt. We're not going to use any other seasonings, because we want to make sure that none of those seasonings are possibly triggering some sort of struggle that you're having with the weight loss, or you're just not feeling as well, that type of thing. All right. So I hope you enjoyed this video. And there are plenty of other videos on my channel that talk about different things with struggling, or some of the mistakes that carnivores make, that kind of stuff. And in fact, if you want, you can go check out this video right here that talks about some of the biggest mistakes that carnivores do make. So go check that video out, and I'll see you over there in that one.